It was a cold, rainy night in Los Angeles, the kind that paints the sidewalks in shimmering reflections and muffles the noise of the city, as if the entire world has turned down its volume. Most people had retreated indoors, chasing warmth, comfort, and company. But inside a quiet diner tucked away on the corner of Sunset Boulevard, a man sat alone in a booth by the window, his shoulders slumped, his gaze fixed on nothing in particular. His name was David Miller, once a confident marketing manager at a rising tech company, now reduced to a man on the verge of breaking. His fingers clutched a coffee cup that had long since gone cold. The waitress had asked twice if he wanted a refill, but he barely acknowledged her. His eyes were red, not from the weather, but from what felt like a storm inside him. Just 2 months ago, David had a life, a career, a family, a home, but that all came crashing down like a row of dominoes. First, the sudden layoffs at work. Then the arguments at home became more frequent. His wife, exhausted by stress and growing resentment, packed her things and took their 6-year-old daughter Emily with her. A custody battle followed, one he lost. He hadn't seen Emily in 2 weeks. Tonight, he wasn't just tired, he was empty. The kind of empty where even thinking feels like a chore. He didn't come to the diner for food. He came because he couldn't bear the silence of his apartment anymore. He came because sitting alone in public hurt just a little less than sitting alone at home. Across the diner, the bell above the door chimed softly as another customer stepped in. Dressed in a simple black hoodie, jeans, and a beanie, the man went unnoticed by most. But the waitress gave a small smile. She recognized him immediately. He nodded politely and took a seat near the back. It was Keanu Reeves. Keanu liked this place. No cameras, no fanfare, just good food and peace. But as he glanced around the diner, his eyes stopped on David. Something about him felt familiar. Not his face, but the weight in his expression. Keanu had known that weight. The silent scream inside. The feeling of drowning while the world carried on. After a few minutes, Keanu stood, walked across the room, and gently tapped the table. "Mind if I sit?" David looked up, blinking. Sure, of course." Keanu sat across from him, folding his hands calmly. "You look like a man carrying more than he should." David gave a dry laugh, the kind that came from exhaustion, not amusement. "You could say that." There was a pause. Then David sighed and muttered, "You probably don't want to hear my problems." Keanu smiled. "Actually, I've got time. And sometimes talking to a stranger is easier than talking to a friend." And so, slowly, hesitantly, David opened up. The words came out awkwardly at first. Bits and pieces, fragmented memories. But Keanu listened. No judgment, no advice, just presence. David talked about the job loss, how it made him feel useless. About the nights he cried in the bathroom so his daughter wouldn't see. About the court hearing and the cold way the judge said he wasn't currently stable enough to share custody. "She's all I have," David said, voice cracking. "And now I don't even have that." Keanu leaned forward, resting his elbows on the table. "You know," he said softly, "a lot of people know me as an actor, but they don't know what life has taken from me. I lost my best friend to drugs. My daughter was stillborn. And a year later, her mother died in a car crash." David's eyes widened slightly. Keanu continued, "I used to ask myself every day, why keep going? What's left? And you know what I realized?" David shook his head.
You don't heal all at once. You heal in pieces. Some days you'll move an inch. Other days you won't move at all. But every step forward, even the small, ugly ones, they matter. There was silence between them, but not an awkward one, a comforting one. Like the silence between two people sitting beside the same fire, sharing the same warmth. Then Keanu reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a small worn notebook. The leather cover was scratched. Inside, handwritten pages were filled with quotes, reminders, and scribbles. "I write in this when I'm lost," he said. He tore a page from the notebook, folded it, and slid it across the table. "I wrote this on a night I didn't think I'd make it to morning." David opened it slowly. It read, "When you're standing in the ruins of what used to be your life, don't search for what was. Look for what could be built from the pieces." His throat tightened. Keanu stood up, then handed him a card. My friend is working on a film outside the city. He's hiring drivers, assistants, people who show up. Call him. You don't have to be perfect. Just be willing. David looked up. Why are you doing this? Keanu smiled. Because once someone sat down with me when I was falling apart, and all they did was listen. It saved my life. I'm just passing that on. He patted David on the shoulder and walked out into the rain, vanishing into the night the same way he came, quietly, humbly, without fanfare. Weeks passed. David made the call. He got the job. It was long hours and unfamiliar work, but it gave him something he'd lost, purpose. He saved enough for a new apartment. He reconnected with a lawyer. He started attending parenting workshops. Bit by bit, the pieces of his life began to shift. One afternoon, during a supervised visit, his daughter ran up to him, arms wide open. "Daddy!" He knelt down, tears in his eyes, and hugged her tight, like he never wanted to let go again. He never saw Keanu Reeves again. But every morning, taped to the inside of his bathroom mirror, was that torn notebook page, faded, worn, but still legible. And beneath it, he'd written in his own hand, "This is where the rebuilding begins."